everyone. I'm Laura Nicola, your faithful therapist. Thank you for joining me today. Today's video is going to be talking about anxiety, kind of a broad topic, but we're going to kind of break down some steps into how you can actually cope with it. And of course, it's going to be through a faith-based lens. So thanks for joining. So anxiety is this thing that's pretty commonplace these days, whether or not it's diagnosable. People know what it is. They feel it. They worry about things. We live in a society that's very future oriented. We plan a lot. So a lot of people struggle with anxiety. The actual mental health disorders of anxiety are also very much on a spectrum though. We have generalized anxiety, we have social anxiety, we have panic disorder, we have OCD, we have separation anxiety, we have all sorts of things. And when people find out that I'm a counselor and they know that I work with people struggling with anxiety and that I do it faithfully, people are like, oh, well, the Bible just says, do not be anxious, do not be afraid. I've heard that so many times, and it's true, and it's helpful, to pray about that. But hopefully this video gives a couple more concrete ways to handle the anxiety in addition to praying about it. Because yes, it's true, we're not called to be anxious, but those struggling with anxiety aren't exactly choosing to be that way. So again, here are some tips for how to manage it. So step number 1 is thinking about a pretty specific situation that makes us anxious. When we're in the midst of anxiety, it feels like there could be a million triggers, and it's hard to pinpoint maybe one specific situation, but the more specific we get, the easier it's going to be to cope. So get pretty specific about what it is that's causing your anxiety. Second, separate out what about the situation you can control versus what you can't control. Anxiety is tricky, and it tries to make us think that what's in our control is not, and what's out of our control is in our control. So it's a little tricky in that way. So separate what I truly can control about the situation versus what I can't. And then what I do is I take action on the things that are in my control. It feels really good kind of creating steps towards something that I can achieve. And then there's such satisfaction in, checking off that to-do list. I write things down on purpose just so I can cross them off. Same thing with anxiety. So if we actually do the action steps that lead us towards minimizing our anxiety, we're going to feel so much better. So kind of list out what those steps are and then prompt yourself to actually doing it. And then finally, the last step is relinquishing control whenever possible. Now, this is arguably the harder part, but luckily, this is where our faith comes in. So if we can relinquish control by offering it up or surrendering it or giving it over to God, it actually helps us be more humble in that situation and not as prideful and saying, no, I can do it. I can manage it. I'll control it. We kind of relinquish that and actually, our souls are better for it. So these are, 4 pretty concrete steps. So let's put it into practice. Think about something maybe this upcoming week or 2 that you have anxiety about. I'm sure you can think of something, right? I have 3 things pop into mind right away. So think of something in the future that you're anxious about, and then apply these steps. It could be anything. It could be a work deadline. It could be a family gathering. It could be a piano recital. It could be a test. It could be a conversation with your spouse about finances. It literally could be about anything. As long as it's causing you anxiety, it's a good thing to try to use these steps for. For purposes of this video, I'm going to act as if the situation is an upcoming meeting with my boss, just to kind of run through it. So I've already defined it. It's pretty specific. So it's a work meeting with my boss. Okay, that's pretty specific. It's next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Okay. Next, separate what you can control about the situation versus what you can't. So I can control my behaviors up until then. I can prepare myself as best as possible, knowing what I'm going into with the meeting. Can get feedback from other coworkers that have maybe already had their meeting. And something else I can control is just my mindset going into it. Reminding myself I'm a good employee, I do my work, I try my best, I'm good at communicating, etc., etc. Now, what are things that aren't in my control? Well, I can't control the fact that it's happening. I can't control the timing of it. I can't control what my boss really thinks of me because that's up to him. So those are things that I can't control. Step 3, take action on what I can control. Okay, well, if I need to talk to my coworker, I'll do that before my meeting. If I need to prepare, a deadline before my meeting so I can show my boss that I did it, okay, I'll take action steps and do that. If I need to kind of do some CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and kind of prep myself, to have a more positive mindset going into it, great, I'll do that. If I can say a prayer before going into the meeting so I can kind of calm myself, do that. Again, like whatever you can action-wise, do it, follow through. And then step 4, relinquish control however possible. Okay, so I can't control that it's actually coming. So, I'm going to give it over to God. I trust that everything happens for a reason. So I'm just going to assume that, God has my back, that, again, my work ethic is going to prove itself. And so I'm just going to go in and be honest and be open and be as communicative as possible. Okay. And then after, it's always helpful to kind of like look back in hindsight about what was I anxious about. More often than not, once the situation, step number 1, like defining that specifically, once that's actually over, in hindsight, probably a lot of what I was anxious about didn't actually need to happen. And so that way I can kind of prepare myself for, okay, the next quarterly meeting. Well, last time it went really well. I was more anxious than I had to be, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully that's helpful. So I hope these steps help, and I would be, really curious if they are to you. So leave me comments. Let me know if, one of these steps is easier than not for you. Let me know if you try them and kind of how you feel afterwards. And I just hope it helps. So leave comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel below. I really appreciate that. And also follow me on Instagram. There I post daily posts on tips, tricks, insights, bunch of different things trying to integrate faith and psychology. So if you haven't already, follow and subscribe here and follow me on IG. Okay, thanks so much.